the outside, usually not the back door, but the outside. Which side was tighter, the dominant or the non-dominant side for you? Dominant. Which side do you think you might want to stretch more often than during the day? That's one of the stretches I do more than anything else. Because I'm right-handed, and I have a tendency, I've gotten a lot better over the years, but I have a tendency to use my right hand a lot more than my left hand. I've gotten a lot better too in not holding everything I'm holding on to so tight with the death grip. I've gotten a lot more chilled out over the years in the age, so I don't have to squeeze things so hard. And when I use pens now, I don't have pens too that are really thin and narrow. I get thicker barrel pens, which make it a lot easier on my fingers when I'm doing that. Now for the elbow, instead of palm up, now palm down, gently pull your wrist and hand back. I get a big pull on the backside of your elbow, the backside of your forearm and elbow. And now it's tighter and more uncomfortable when your fingers are doing the outside. And rotate to the inside. And I'll do that other side. Come straight back. Go to the outside. Good, and go to the inside. Excellent job. Go ahead and have a seat, and I'll show you one last really key stretch. It's on your stretching handout. Especially for ladies, this one's really important because of what's called sciatica. Sciatica is that wonderful nerve that runs down the back of your leg. And the more you ladies cross your legs, the more you sit on your feet, the tighter that muscle gets. Why that's a problem, that sciatic nerve runs right underneath that piriformis muscle. So you'll notice, likely, because most of you cross your legs a lot more on one side than the other, that's going to be your tighter side that you'll notice when you do this stretch. So you can do a couple different things. One, try to reduce how much time you spend crossing that tighter side, and two, stretch that tighter side more often to balance yourself out. Because the more you're imbalanced, the more stress you put right over that sacroiliac joint right here in the base of your lower back. And a triangle bone looks like between your butt cheeks. Alright? And right at the base of your lower back. And the more this is out of whack, the more stress you put to your lower back. Everything gets thrown out of whack. That's what therapists help with. That's what chiropractors help with, to reset those things. I ended up going therapy ways because we get educated more about then how to treat your body to keep those things in there with stretching and strengthening and getting you so you don't have to keep coming back. That's why I chose the physical therapy over chiropractic. Both are excellent professions, absolutely wonderful. They help you get better faster, help you stay healthy, and do what you want to do with the work that's in place. Let's cross your legs. Sit up nice and tall. The taller you sit, the more of a deep butt stretch you'll feel. Usually pretty uncomfortable, this one is. Sit up real tall. Turn and look over that knee. Now pull that knee up towards your opposite shoulder. You feel a big pull deep down your butt. And relax back down. Good job. I'll do that one more time. You can pull up towards your opposite knee. And relax back down. Let's try that other side. Pull that knee up towards your opposite shoulder. And relax back down. Good job. Do that one more time. 3 to 5 second hold. And relax back down. And if you notice one side tighter than the other, I've got a lot of people do. My left side used to be a whole lot tighter than my right side. So I used to cross my left leg quite a bit. And those of you that are married, your significant other, I bet more than not sits like this. Both legs, typical guy postures, just like this. I used to be a major sloucher. Major slouching like this before headaches and motor vehicle accidents and that kind of thing. Now, people call me Mr. Posture. I'm always, because when I started slouching, I got a lot of nasty headache pains and these numbness and tingling and shooting things going back and forth. I had to learn the hard way. I hope no one else ever has to do that, but I know a lot of people do after motor vehicle accidents or after falls and things like that. So that's how I had to learn, and that's something that I hope again you don't have to, but that's why posture too, and why I know typically moms talk about posture a lot more than dads do. And a lot of your mothers and grandmothers talked about that a lot to you, I'm sure, growing up. It's so important. One of the key things that I learned in PT school, I remember one of the first things here with our orthopedics professor talked to us, said, guys and gals, if you all truly understand this key word, this posture, and really take into account and watch what you do every day, how you do it, you'll be able to get people better faster. And they'll stay better. Because your posture habits every day determine how your body feels, how it wears down. And that's something that I'm so passionate about. And people say that I'm kind of a posture Nazi a lot around. I know too at St. Luke's, and my wife does at home, and in my small group, because I talk about it all the time. people would talk to me about breaks and pains, and I said, crossing your legs again, watch that, you know, dude, I'm always talking, I'm always pointing things out, but that's how those things happen. And if we don't try to change those things, we're not going to get better. So we have to try to do some things differently, move differently, so we can feel better. And if you have any questions for me, all this good stuff we talked about this week. Am I doing a Live Healthy Iowa again this year? Yeah. It was actually 15 last year. Yeah. We're doing it 15 again through the church again. If you use a high D code, I'm actually not going to test biometrics again this year. Because with my little one at home, I'm going to take a year off of doing that extra little thing. But you can sign up with teams through Sunnybrook. Again, the group ID code for that is LHI, all in caps, Sunnybrook. LHI for Live Healthy Iowa, Sunnybrook is what you'd want to use. And then the high D code, which is a $5 promotional code that you can put with your team. So each of you on your team saves $5, is LH5423. Live Healthy 5423. That's the code number that you would use, which is the code to save $5, 50% of the team. Great question. If any of you are looking forward to maybe checking out Pump and Praise too, that is here 3 days a week on Tuesday mornings and Thursday mornings at 5:30. Oh, I know it's early. It's hard to change, but boy, once you get used to doing that, it's a hard habit to break. And when you have kids or grandkids, now with me with having kids, that's by far the best time to exercise. Because after work, it's really hard to exercise. You got kid events going on all the time, if you want to. And if you don't exercise early in the morning, it's hard to get it done and be consistent in things because your time is typically always called upon by other things, family things. A lot. So early morning is by far the best time I know for me to get it done. What research has shown to is the best time to get those things done. And Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock. It's a little bit easier for you to maybe check out a Saturday at 8. Love to see you. Love to see you. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:30, Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock. Again, there's some extra handouts over here if you'd like to come check any of that stuff out, or the day of dance. Well, sure, you can come and check that out. Any other questions? Yes?
Like I know if you're hurting, you can go to the chiropractor and they can help you. And so I've never really heard of going to a physical therapist except for if you're injured and your doctor sends you. How does someone, what do? Do you call St. Luke's and say?
You can. It's typically best, because the way the insurances work, is to talk to your family doctor first, and then say, because of this ache or pain or kind of thing you're having, then just say, can I get referred, to a physical therapist for evaluation and treatment for this pain,
okay.
And they can evaluate and treat you and find out what strengthening exercises, what balance, what stretching things you need, maybe what manual therapy. I tend to be really high on manual therapy. Where I went to school at Des Moines University. And what I know about manual therapists too is people that do manual therapy, it's like a chiropractor, PT, we're not doing one little type. And what I loved about Des Moines University too, where I went to school, is we take a holistic approach. We don't focus on, if somebody says they have wrist pain or coming in with carpal tunnel, I don't just focus here. I focus on the whole system. What do you do at work? What do you do at home? How do you sleep? What stresses do you have going on in your life? What do you want to get back to? If your therapists or doctors aren't talking about that stuff, you might want to start looking for somebody else. And that's for any of you. I highly recommend that. Make sure they're asking you about all those things. If they're not, you can get better a whole lot faster with somebody else. Not that you want to hurt them, per se, but it's so important to get to know the whole person, the whole patient. And that's what I found here working. With my family doctor too, he takes time with me. He doesn't just rush in and rush out. And he gets kind of in trouble for that a lot. He's usually running behind. But I'd rather that, I know that when I go to see my doctor, that I'm going to be waiting. And I'm fine with that. Because I'd rather have him ask me more questions than important for me. Just like he does for all the other patients that he sees too. Great question. Great question. Anybody else? Well, thank you, Jill, for having me today. Talking about
to us about men versus women, and I've heard that it's fantastic. I know that the Northside MOPS had him come to their meetings, so it should be really good. I'm excited about it. So, we have 5 minutes if you want to just visit in your small groups and then kind of,
try to get links to, he talked about Live Healthy Iowa. I'm sure some of you don't know what that is. I'll get links about information and post it on the Facebook page. And then also Public Praise. I'll try to get a link up there about that too, so if you're interested.
So you got 5 minutes. Keep your eye on the time so we can go get our kiddos.
You're going to kind of see a lot of Shelly and Reese. Hi, Shelly. I didn't even pay attention. I was like just walking like back and forth. There's Christine.